GM, FOMOverse Radio. This is your show host, Austin Hamilton. Today we have special guest, SmartContrart, for episode number 47. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, thanks for having me. Very excited to be here with you.
Absolutely, man. GM to you, GM.
GM.
Well, first of all, why don't we tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe, when you got into NFTs or, when you started developing smart contracts, stuff like that. And we'll just take it from there.
Yeah, so I'm basically an old dude for the space, almost 40 years old, and I basically have a background in finance actually. And so what got me into crypto initially was really Bitcoin. As a lot of people know, I used to be a toxic Bitcoin maximalist, and that's how actually I got into NFTs. I made a fun of a guy who posted like all of their NFTs like last year, and he actually like told me like, hey, why don't you like try for a week, buy a couple, play around, and see like what it's like. And so I did that, and actually I changed my mind. I thought that communities were super cool, and like everything was really interesting. And I actually found the Ash community like that because like Dell was dropping the token at the time,
Oh, okay.
and I got lucky. I got on the Discord very fast, and I got on the Holo list for the token, so I bought that, and I thought I was smart at the time. I flipped it right away. Big mistake,
Oh,
but that's part of the story, right?
yeah, you live and you learn.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what got me in the community. And as I have a background in coding, because I've been basically coding my entire life in parallel to my main job, I wanted to look into smart contracts, and I found the Greek at the time who wanted to do a dynamic drop. And so the first drop that I did was with him, and it was a dream within a dream. And yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
awesome, man. Well, pretty interesting background coming on here. So thank you again for coming on the show, by the way, man. I wanted to maybe bring up your most recent collab here.
Mhm.
Um, Let me see. I could probably find it on your Twitter page here.
I have a lot, yeah, going on my Twitter page. I think that the latest was the one with Smokestats, where we did the Valentine's Day drop.
Ah,
But before that, like
beautiful.
the yeah, after that I had the one with Simply Anders, where we did Constructor, where you can like build your own NFT. Those are really the two most recent
Was
ones.
it this one right here? The
Yep,
birds?
yep. The
Awesome.
birds, the Unchained love story.
Oh, that's beautiful. And looks like 808. He's a pretty big part of the Ash community, I would say. A big
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dell
Mm.
collector. You see his rip catch, PFP right there. But okay, so you teamed up right here with Smokestacks. Is it something like you created the contract and he kind of did the animation and the art? Is that kind of how it
Yeah,
worked?
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, with the fun thing with Smokestack is like I think it's a collab that was in the works for the longest time. I think that we started discussing maybe in March or May last year, and never anything came out of it until now. We actually had another job that was almost ready, but he recently switched to like his Unchained stuff, and so I come up with this idea of a love story for for Valentine's Day actually. So the first drop was on Valentine's Day, and so we worked on the job together. He refined like the idea and created the animations. I mean the art, which is 100% on chain, and it's also a dynamic contract. And so basically, I wrote the contract, did the auction, and the minting website as well, where you could bid on both pieces. And I mean, in 2 words, like the concept of the job is like there's two birds. They are auctioned separately. If you own the first bird, you cannot bid on the second one, and so they have to be on two different wallets
Okay, that's
when they
interesting.
get minted. Yeah,
Okay.
and so the question is like what's happened when they are with each other because it's two birds that are looking for each other. So that's really what it is.
Oh, okay. There's a little mystery behind there. That's pretty cool, bro.
Yeah, I mean we see in front of us like a big hint at it, but
That's
hopefully they find love.
I like the Smokestack's RGB here, the the glitch art. He's been doing really well lately. I think he just entered in on Super Rare.
Yeah, yeah, he just published his super rare piece. And it's like pretty insane. Like if you click on it, yeah, like I think it's worth a demonstration. But like, just click on the 404 and then type KEK, and you'll see that some magic will happen.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah,
So what do I type?
go ahead. KEK,
Oh, for
Keck.
Keck.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness sakes. Oh my
it's like
god. I'm so glad you showed me how to do that, man. That is
yeah, no,
so funny.
this one's insane. And so there's other words that you can look. I think he posted a couple. But like if you click again, like you can go back to the main page, and there's like I think four art pieces behind this 404. So yeah, no, definitely an amazing piece. And, yeah, he's
That's
doing great.
so cool that he's able to do that on Super Rare. I didn't realize you could have like interactive stuff with Super Rare. I thought it was just, you upload your JPEG or your video or whatever,
Mm.
and that's
Well,
it.
yeah, it's actually recent. He had to look into it, and we're briefly discussing Manifold before we jumped in. But they actually leverage Manifold contracts to do that. So that's a part of what they allow to do.
Wow, that is really creative. Awesome, man.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, it's a really good
Um,
piece.
Go ahead.
No, no, I was just saying it's a really good piece. Sorry.
One of the other things we kind of talked about before the show, just a little bit, me and you, about POC contracts. Before you say your opinions or whatever you found on them, I just want
Yeah.
to share what I have found and kind of speculated and looked at. And correct me if I'm wrong, okay, with
Hmm.
anything. So I have this group chat, me and a couple of my buddies, and we'll talk about POC and like what we think like is going to happen in the NFT space and just share like the latest news and stuff like that. Well, I can't remember, it was like a couple weeks ago. My buddy Alondre, shout out Alondre,
Hmm.
what up? He had said, hey, check out the carbon floor. It's doing pretty good. It was like 2 ETH or something. I was like, yeah, yeah. He's like, I wonder why the fungible is less than carbon. And I was like, well, I go, I think it's on his own contract. And then I kind of backstepped and I was like, wait a minute. I think that is on Manifold's contract. But I could be wrong. But anyway, so we were talking, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of his work, I think, is with like Super Rare, Nifty Gateways contract. Like he does like a lot of like unique things with those websites. But anyway, so we were talking about that. And then we were talking about Ash Chapter 2 with Manifold dropping the ball with that. And then I brought up Matter. Okay.
Hmm.
And it's interesting with Matter. Again, I'm like very basic levels with smart contracts. So, I know how to like go to the Etherscan, click, read contract, pull like the token URI, find like the image through the IPFS. And like that's kind of like, like how
That's
I know
important
to
stuff.
like interact. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But interesting enough with the Matter one, and I'll pull it up here. When you go to it, it almost looks like you can't really like read it. Yeah, here, let me find it here real quick. Yeah, it's not like the other NFT contracts where you can just go in and then find like the token URI and stuff like that. It's a little
I
different,
haven't.
which kind of raises some questions for me.
Yeah, let's look at it because I don't have this one in mind, but there's a couple of options. But what I know from Pac is like all of his contracts are custom made. So meaning that he doesn't use the manifold default contract, especially those old contracts that he could have. Um, but yeah, yeah. So here, basically, what it says, it's just like there on the button where you click, like it says contract. You don't have like a little green check, and basically what that means is that it just means that Pac did not publish the source code of the contract itself, right? So what you're looking at is the bytecode of the contract, which is
Okay.
basically what the Ethereum virtual machine uses to interpret the contract. That's what the machine understands, right?
Hmm.
And after that, you can verify and publish, as you can see on top, the contract. It's usually a best practice because like it avoid like rugs and stuff like that. But in this
Interesting.
case, probably he has some things that he doesn't want to show, like hidden functionalities could be or whatever. And so he did not publish it, but maybe it will come at some point. So that's why you can't really interpret it like that.
Wow. Okay, so thank you so much for clarifying that. That is amazing, man. I've never like seen this really.
Mm.
And so I've always wondered like what is up with this? And I think it was Danny with three brains.
Mhm.
Somebody like burned their matter first. They
Oh,
sent it
really?
to like the burn address and I was like, "Whoa." You know what I mean? Like you're just gonna volunteer to just send it to the burn address. Well, then come to find out, you know, your matter would turn into the antimatter.
Yeah,
And like that was written into the smart contract, which
yeah,
almost
definitely.
reminds me of the inevitable mechanisms or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, that's probably like why he wanted to not publish the contract. Actually, it's just like okay, there's like surprises on the contract, and I don't want people like to figure it out just by reading the contract, because to some extent, it breaks the surprise. So definitely, definitely good stuff. And maybe there's other stuff that could happen.
yeah.
So
So what
we have to keep
kind of
exploring.
have you found? What's like what have you been looking at with pox contracts? Like have you
Yeah.
seen
So
anything like what kind of intrigues you about it?
I mean, I think like everything that they do is like super creative, right? But I was like more looking at the contract, that you mentioned on the episode with Cenk Diesel. Pack published, a couple of weeks ago, like this the first Fomoverse NFT, I believe, with
Okay.
the contract address and that.
Let me pull
And
that
so I
up.
was looking at that, and that was interesting because basically he created what we call the ERC20 token, which is basically all the cryptocurrencies like wrapped ETH, Ash, etc. All of those are ERC20 tokens. And so this one is a contract with very basic functionalities. This one is published, so you can actually read and analyze that. It's just like there's one token, exactly this one. And so there's one token attached to that, and it's owned by Pack. And that's literally all it does. And like people can burn, but they burn zero. So interesting to see. Maybe he will attach this token to this new coin that he created that he called None. And yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what he will do with that, but I thought it was a fun thing to do, and looking forward to see what they're gonna do with this contract.
It was driving
It's
me crazy. I'm like, how are people interacting with this? Like I see this right here, like these transactions. I'm like,
mm,
what is going on here?
I mean, to interact, it's fairly easy right now. Like if you go back to the contract
Okay.
on this window, Etherscan basically for all of the published contracts, that's what we are discussing. They allow you to interact with those contracts. So if you go back to the contract, see here you have the little green check mark at the top, and so that means that you can. I mean, that means that the source code is published. And
Okay.
after
Yep.
that, you can see underneath you have like code, read contract, and write contract. And by clicking on those, you can actually call the functions. Read contract, it's all of the functions that don't need to send gas, basically. So if you click on the number two total supply, you will see that there's only one token attached to this contract. See, like you int whatever one, the line just underneath. So that's how you interact with it. And with read contract, you can call the functions like burn, etc. So that's how people interact with the contract.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Because I was asking, you probably know Carter.
Yeah, of
I was like,
course.
Carter. I was like, what's going on with this, man? He's like, I'm looking into it. I'll let you know.
He's
So,
like always on top of it. He keeps on like messaging me. Like he did that with the Y contract from 0xG
mm,
during the mint period when during NFT Paris. He was deep into it. He found like interesting stuff. Did not manage to mint, unfortunately for him, but yeah, he's on top of that stuff. So yeah,
man, he's good. And you know,
I
props to OXG, man. OXG knows what the hell's going on. Like he's doing things, man. You know, they had the
Yeah,
NFT Paris exhibit.
yeah,
And then it was funny because somebody was posting like, I think I found OXG, and it was just some guy standing by the screens, and OXG was like, yeah, that's me. But I couldn't tell if it was like a joke or like, if it was real or not. But it's just kind of like comical. But again, man, he's doing some really innovative stuff. And I think
yeah.
for the people, the creators that push this stuff to the limits, I
Mm.
think over the long term, I think it's going to be very, very, very nice for them.
Yeah,
To just like have an
100%.
advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, to me, he's really like in line with what Pac used to do. Just like Pac always was very innovative with their contract, and basically he's doing the same, like trying to find new ways of using a standard. And definitely, there's some people leveraging that quite a lot. And I did that, for example, the own job that he did a while back. I leveraged that in a couple of contracts that I did. So it's really innovative, and again, like most of the time coding, you leverage other people's work, and I keep on leveraging their work because they're innovative and doing new stuff. So yeah, props to them for sure.
Him, and I'm sorry if you can hear my dog bark in the background. She probably just needs to go to the bathroom or something. But so yeah, so this kind of also reminds me of Nahiko.
Yeah, yeah, solid stuff as well with the Hero. Yeah,
Nahiko's another really innovative creator. Um, he had that most recent drop. The Price is Right.
yeah, yeah. That was a very interesting one. It's yeah, it's
The Price is Almost
basically
Right. That's what it
the
was.
precision muster, yeah.
Hmm.
Where he leveraged basically AI to generate that. Yeah, no, that's a really cool drop. I played with it actually, yeah, quite a lot.
It was
It was
funny
fun.
to watch people. So basically, for anybody that's watching this show that doesn't know what this is, you could actually like create your own image, and it would rate, how much it could be worth at least. So some people were, like almost maxing it out. I think it
Yeah,
goes up to like I think it's like 44,000 or something like that.
yeah, I had
Um,
something like that in mind. Yeah,
uh,
yeah, no, it was a very
did
good.
did you end up like creating one and like see how much it could be worth?
Yeah, yeah. I played with it. It was actually fun. So basically, like for people who don't know, like when you were drawing on it, basically there was a machine learning algorithm behind the scene that would estimate based on some parameters. I'm not sure which one, how much you could sell the NFT for. And so that's why like the little bar at the bottom would fill, and so you could do that. And I did that, yeah. And like there was like fun stuff, like just one line could like go almost to the max versus like a nice drawing would be worth nothing. So that
Right,
was
right, like two
that was
dollars
a
for like a nice draw.
yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
That was a hilarious one. Yeah. No, and yeah, I mean that leveraged a lot of different tech, like behind the scene. Like having basically a website. It's a little bit the same technology to some extent that Smokestack is doing, which is an HTML NFT. So yeah, no, definitely interesting stuff.
Along the same lines of innovating, yesterday, Beeple just had his grand opening of the studio,
Yeah.
Beeple Studio.
Yep.
Which, by the way, this is FOMO versus radio, so I had ton of FOMO,
Same.
not going to the show or not going to the grand opening. But yeah, you could see like I'll scroll down and check this out. Look, it's Elon Musk. It's not really him. It's
Yeah.
somebody wearing a mask, but it was like part digital gallery. With like all like the screens and like almost kind of
Mm.
look like I don't know if you've ever heard of like immersive experiences with like Van Gogh, Monet, stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm.
So
Mm.
they have like that immersive part, and then they also have more like the traditional part, where it's like, like you could see in the background here, like they have like the painting on the walls, and
Yeah.
they have like the little like about the
With
picture and stuff
Picasso
like that.
and Warhol. Wow, nice.
Man,
Yeah, no, no, but it must have been insane. I think that to me, what stands out the most on that is like the opportunity to basically have all of your art across the entire room. Like that must be really insane when you're an artist to see and experience. Like as a digital artist, like when you have all of your stuff everywhere, it must be insane. It reminds me actually, I forgot the name of this experience that Krista Kim did. Where she like projected all of her art on Times Square. It was like a meditation type session, and it's like gradients of color changing, and she did that throughout Times Square. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that must be insane to
I'm
experience.
trying to think who did that on Times Square. There's been a lot of artists, that have used that Times Square space, which I think is such a genius idea. I mean, come on, we're looking at screens all
Yeah,
day at JPEGs. It's like, why not post it in front of millions and millions of people?
yeah.
I found that such a great idea, and I think isn't NFT NYC coming up here next month?
I think it's in April. Yeah, I'm not sure about the dates actually, but yeah, yeah. It was in April last year, I believe. So yeah, looking
Have
forward to it.
you followed the artist Lasco? Do you know who that is?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's doing something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's doing something for the New York City NYC
I
NFT
need to
event.
look into it.
I think also he's doing an auction with
Right now,
Sotheby's
yeah.
too. No. Like,
Yeah.
well, I know right now,
During
but
NFT. Okay.
yeah. I think he's doing something with Sotheby's or something like that. Um,
Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't know. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's he does really cool stuff. But like NYC NFT, like there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff. Like I hope it will be a little bit more art oriented. Like I went last time actually and met up with the Ash gang.
okay.
Um, and yeah, the main conference is a little bit like too businessy, but like the side events is really where stuff happens. So looking forward to those for sure.
That'll be pretty sweet. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess we have like 5 minutes left here. Um, I did a survey, gosh, several months, maybe like 6 months ago or something. And
Hmm.
one of the questions on there, I kind of just like left it open for any feedback. And one of them was that the shows sometimes were a little bit too long. So I've been trying to just dial them back a little bit, trying to compile them, into like a short video versus like an hour and a half. So that's why we're running 30 minutes. But still, no, yeah. I guess the whole Silicon Valley Bank collapsing. I'm not sure if everybody that's watching knows about that. It has been pretty big on Twitter. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The impact is pretty big, and yeah, the reason why it impacts crypto that much is basically the company that creates the USDC stablecoin has some money there, and so basically that's why it depegged briefly on Friday and Saturday, and so
yes.
let's see how it will go on Monday, because they have like I read the numbers, but they have like I can't remember like 3.3 billion of their cash reserves there over like much more. I think that they have like 144 billion total of money circle, and so they only lost like 3.3 billion. So it's not crazy, but it's enough. Like if everybody like withdraw their USDC or redeem their USDC at once, it's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah,
Yeah,
if people.
Coinbase actually uh, stopped from transfers
Yeah, for
between
USDCs. Yeah.
USDC to USD.
Mm.
You could see right here we were temporarily pausing USDC to USD conversions over the weekend.
Yeah, I think that Robinhood did the same actually. Yeah, I mean it's the only way to stop the bleeding, right? I don't know if it's right or wrong. Yeah, for a Bitcoin maximalist, the answer is probably wrong, but yeah, yeah, no, I think it's good to like stop the bleeding of the thing. So
Yeah.
let's see Monday what are the real impacts, because that's broader than crypto, right? So that's really what's going to be concerning, like all of the startups that like made loans and that they have their money there that need
Oof.
it like for payroll and all of that stuff. So So
Oof.
yeah, it's gonna be a interesting week to say the least.
It's probably a little scary for some people that have, their money into stables. Stable coins is like USDC, Tether.
Mm.
They're probably kind of freaking out right now, but I don't
Well,
know.
Tether is actually doing good, but yeah, the two that are impacted really is USDC and DAI a little bit because DAI has part of their reserves in USDC as well. So they're impacted, but yeah, I mean, let's see how it goes. For now, Circle says that they will maintain the peg, so let's see if they can do it.
We'll have to see, guys. Well,
Yep.
again, we're going to close up the show, man. Again, thank you so much for coming on here, SmartContrart. Anything else that you want to share with the audience or anything?
Well, first, thanks for having me. It was a great talk, and no, it's really like if you guys have questions and smart contracts and want to do like some cool dynamic drops, feel free to hit me up. And it's always my pleasure. Like I work with a lot of cool artists and like helping them into delivering their vision is basically something that I love doing. So feel free to reach out and we can do that together.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, look forward to seeing what your stuff is coming out. And again, thank you for coming on the show. Hope you have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks for having me.